Hi, I'm Graeme and today I'm going to be talking to you about brand protection. Brand protection has become ever more important as we're seeing so much more access to brands with the proliferation of online property such as social media, review sites. So it's becoming ever more important for companies to have a hold over what is being said about your brand, your services and your products. So today I'm going to kind of take a two-tier approach. Going to look at kind of a defensive strategy and also an offensive strategy as well, so that you turn defense into attack almost. So the thing about brand coverage now is that marketing departments can spend millions and millions on branding exercises, be it logos, be it forums that they're holding with their consumers. But that still won't match the fact that the power of social media and review sites, as I've just mentioned, means that you can't control every single mention of your particular brand or your product or your services. So what you need to do is to try and control the controllables, to use a footballing term. And first of all, really should make sure you've kind of marked your territory off. So that means making sure that top level domains are yours and under your control, and the variants of that you believe could be used to one, spread your message further, two, attack your brand as well. So you might consider variants of your brand name and also your products and your services as well. Some things to consider here is also, to take it to that next level, is trademarking of your products and services. With effective trademarking, should you not have had the chance to register a particular domain or even profiles that use your brand terms, then that should give you a little bit more leverage in being able to reclaim those as well. So I'd start with top level domains. I would then look at profiles across social profile sites, business networking sites as well. A great tool to look at is Noam, where they have packages that are there to sign up for hundreds of profiles. And the upshot of all of this is that you'll begin to have control over the domains and branded text that can be used to view results for your brand terms in the search engine listings. An interesting strategy that I saw off the back of the Interflora episode is that they did have a subdomain, flowers.org, that did still rank during the time where they lost their rankings for their brand term. And it made me think as well that if you're in a particularly competitive field, that there might well be good reason to consider a subdomain where perhaps you branch out the content to something that's less commercial, perhaps a little bit more inclusive of your consumer base, maybe something that is a bit more long form than what can be achieved in social media. Build up that profile on that subdomain as well, and then you've got another property that can rank for your branded terms and your products and your services as well. That's not going to fit every business type, but it's certainly something to consider, certainly as an insurance policy. What you also need to consider as well is how on earth you can keep track of all the mentions of your brand and your products, etc. There are some great tools to look at that are free. Google Alerts is a great one to set up. Keep an eye on how that's performing. Of late it has been a little bit slow in terms of returning alerts for different things that I've set up. But there's no doubt about it that it does give you certainly a good starting point in terms of going and finding where your brand is getting mentioned. The upshot as well of that as well is it can give you some outreach opportunities as well. You might find that particular site is talking about you or your brand or your product, and it might well be that you'll be able to reach out to them and perhaps set something up that's a little bit more in depth and get a much better link out of it. Failing that, a great citation, which is all good for your profile in the web world. I've recently started using Mention, which is a brand monitoring tool. It's a web application that you can sign up for, that you set up the terms that you're looking to monitor, and that does a very good job at keeping an eye on things, specifically on Twitter. I've found it's very good at finding brand mentions and also retweets and who those people that have been retweeting those tweets as well. So it kind of follows that chain of mentions down well, which again should alert you in the first instance to any mentions of your name that might not be negative, and you can act on that as well. And similarly, if there are any positive mentions, again, you might have opportunities there to reach out and do a little bit of brand building that way as well. Tweetdeck, the Twitter client, the web app version, can very easily be customizable. Add a column that is looking for your brand terms or your product terms as well. That can give you an up-to-date sort of real-time view on what is happening with regard to your brand terms and product terms. And the last tool that I'd like to mention, there are many, many more, but these three are good starting points. It might well be that you use a combination of them, or it might well be that you use one exclusively. But Topsy is a social media aggregator. Again, you can use Topsy to look for your brand terms, your product terms, and that will pull in all mentions from across the web, and specifically for social media profiles. It's real time as well, and that you can manipulate the search to drill down into kind of particular categories of searches as well. Definitely recommend that, well worth looking at and seeing how that can work for you. So this sort of things is very much kind of a defensive thing. It's all about being aware of what's being said about your brand and your products. But what I wanted to then do is kind of take that defensive strategy and then turn it into attack. Use it for good for your company. So the upshot of a lot of these tactics is that you're going to be able to start to listen much more effectively to your consumer base or your prospective consumer base. You can use this to better inform your business decisions, which might well be at any level, from pricing. There might be a barrier to purchase from a pricing point of view. There may well be benefits and features of your product or service that could do with being amended as well. The upshot of these things is that you're going to be better aware of what people are saying about you, so you'll be better informed, and the decision-making process will, as I say, be much more better informed from that point of view. You'll then, from this, be able to better target page one domination. So this is where you are looking to dominate the search results for any search for your particular brand. So getting those first 10 results to be all properties that you own in some way. Your branded website obviously is something that you want to get as high as possible in that respect. You might have a LinkedIn profile as well. It's a very strong profile to get hold of. And then perhaps the social media properties as well, business networking properties that you might have set up as well. All those adding up together to dominate that first page of search results, so that if anyone is looking to kind of find out what your company is about, they don't get, or you don't get, hijacked by a negative review or any particular negative mention about your particular brand name. And building on from the kind of the listening aspect, is you should then be able to start to build your presence in more mediums than perhaps you'd originally kind of intended. You may have had your own website, look to build that, fill that up with content. You might have put a blog on there as well to kind of keep people up to date with what's going on. But if you have these profiles, a lot of these profiles are part of communities that are very active. And as a result, there will be people that potentially are going to view your profiles that are never going to find your own website. So you're going to broaden your reach and potentially reach an audience that's a little bit more targeted, which could lead to sales and transactions, or at least start to build relationships up, build mailing lists up, The benefits of building your presence in different areas is vital, not least from the fact that it also adds a level of kind of insurance for whatever reason. If you were to experience a slump in rankings, if you're keeping a stream of traffic that's coming to your site that isn't just based on organic traffic, should you find that you're losing any kind of traffic from an organic sense, it's going to be mitigated by the fact that you're able to drive traffic by other means, whether it's through referral traffic from profiles that you've set up, or from email traffic where you've been building a list up as well. So building a presence in these different fields is going to broaden your appeal, but also add a layer of kind of insurance and put more eggs in different baskets, as it were. So that's my view on kind of brand protection and some of the things that companies should consider. If you've got any more questions, feel free to get in touch with us on any of the profiles at the end of this video. Thank you.